Hey y'all, it's Ren of Taurus Rising back with you again for our weekly wellness tarot reading. And this is our first week of the Lionsgate Portal 2025. And the Lionsgate Portal, that's when the um, Sun in Leo and Earth and the star Sirius, which is the brightest star, are in alignment to where they create this lovely gate of energy. I am not an astrology or astronomy expert, so that is a very, very watered down explanation of that. But why it matters is this is supposed to be a time of powerful spiritual energy, a time for personal growth, spiritual growth, and maybe even trying to call in your manifestations. Manifestations is one of my favorite things to talk about, and that's going to be kind of our focus on this reading. Like I've mentioned in a previous post, I'm a huge To Be Magnetic fan, and they're a manifestation company that I love because they're very practical in their approach to manifesting. So manifesting, that's a big word these days, a really buzzword. And all it really means is something that you want and a way to call it in. And it's really cool when you actually have something that you really want to call in and then you get it, right? It's manifested. And we are all capable of manifesting things. And sometimes it just, certain things we want, we just don't quite get them. Some things get in our way. And so that's what this reading is going to be about, is looking at what is blocking you or some things that are getting in your way around calling something in, and then actions you can take. Those are two big concepts in TBM, is blocks, limiting beliefs, like things that are blocking you from the thing that you are calling in, and then actions, aligned actions, as they say. So we're going to have a 2 card reading. The first card is going to be around what's blocking you. The second card is going to be around actions to take. Now, this is not an individual reading. This is a reading for the collective. So it may not resonate. Take what you like, leave the rest. I'm going to try to be vague or more universal in the way I talk about what comes up, just so that it can land for more people. So just wanted to say that. So we'll go ahead and we will dive in and do our reading. Once again, I'm using the Ethereal Visions deck. I've been using that deck a lot lately. I really like it. I find it very beautiful, but I plan on maybe changing it up in the next couple of weeks and using a different deck. So the Ethereal Visions deck is our deck for today. All right. So our first card, around what is blocking us. What is calling to me here is this card. We have the Queen of Wands, and our card around action. This card over here is calling to me. The Two of Wands. All right, here we go. Hopefully y'all can see that. Okay, so what's standing out to me so far with both of these is that um, they're both wands, which is kind of perfect because wands represent the element of fire, which Leo is a fire sign, and we are in the sign of Leo and the Lionsgate, Leo. So going back to this card, our first card here is our Queen of Wands. Sorry, I'm trying to have it so that it's not glaring for y'all. And it's reversed. So when I think of the Queen of Wands, I actually think of a friend of mine who's very fiery and passionate, and I find her very inspiring. So just saying that. So whenever I see that card, I tend to think of her. And also in this card stands out to me as just a person who's a more like female energy, feminine energy, moon energy, who is facing the world head on. She's looking forward. And in general, there's this confidence about this card, right? Very witchy too, the black cat. So there's this person who is very, when I see this card, I see a very confident person. I mean, a queen. But there's, it's in the resistance card or the resistance placement because it's reversed. So there's almost like what's blocking is almost this like keeping yourself small, keeping yourself from standing in your power and like, yeah, I'm awesome. I'm power. I can do this. I can handle this. Almost like you're dimming your own light to maybe fit in, or maybe you don't want to stand out too much. You want to be under the radar for whatever reason. But there's this idea of maybe holding back, or maybe even a fear of having what you want. Um, I don't know what else might be popping out for y'all out there. There's always something unique maybe to each person. Like I said, this card reminds me of my friend because she really likes sunflowers. So whenever I see that, it makes me think of her. Y'all might see something else, like maybe this cat. So definitely, if there's something that you see in this card, imagery wise, that I'm not mentioning, that could be something that is supposed to be communicated to you. Also, we've got the lions here, which are definitely like Leo energy. And Leo is like the performer of the zodiac, right? Like this like creative, charismatic individual. And so maybe there's that kind of need to perform or be creative or like to be seen that maybe you're not tapping into. Maybe you're afraid to tap into that. So maybe there's some sort of block around being the center of attention. Maybe you're trying to start a business or be a content creator or start a YouTube channel, who knows? But maybe there's some fear around being seen or putting yourself out there, maybe even like fear of rejection, but something where you're playing small, like there's this idea of I can't be seen. Um, it's not safe for me to be seen. Um, I don't want to be too out there or ruffle feathers, or maybe it's even about boundaries too. That's coming to mind for me. Like maybe you need to assert yourself in some way, set a boundary with someone, work or someone, a friend, someone you're in a relationship with, coworker. Maybe there's a need for that, but you're maybe dancing around it or just dealing with it. There's something where you need to say something or speak up or express yourself that you're you're blocking, that's blocking you, that's holding you back from the thing that you really want. Like perhaps, I don't know, just giving an example, perhaps you want a promotion, or you want to start a business, or maybe you want to go freelance, um, or something like that. Just where you want to do a little bit bigger. You want to be out of your comfort zone, but maybe a need for security or to be under the radar or fear of being seen is holding you back. All right, so that is our first card, the card around blocks. And then the second card I'm getting, here we've got our Two of Wands. This is around action. And this card, we've got a person who is looking down, like looking down from a balcony. You can see some scenery down below. Perhaps they are just taking some time to think, step out of the house and get out in nature. The two, the number two often means planning. So like whereas one is like the seed of an idea, two is beginning to plan. So perhaps this card is saying, hey, let's start to make some plans. Maybe you don't have to do anything big, but maybe it's making a spreadsheet or just maybe journaling some ideas. Maybe it's even just naming, hey, there's this idea I have, or there's this thing I want to do, or I want to quit my job, whatever it is, like kind of really putting into words or plans this thing that you want to call in. And also just like on the nose, maybe it's just time away. Maybe it's just incorporating more time for stillness and quiet so that you can actually think about what it is that you really want to do and get out of the rat race. Getting out in nature, getting away from all of the noise. So to recap, what I've got here is during this Lionsgate portal, thinking about something that you're calling in, what's holding you back is maybe this fear of getting out of your comfort zone, maybe a fear of being seen, maybe a fear of rocking the boat. No, things are fine the way they are, like something like that. Holding back for fear around things changing or being seen, or maybe a fear of rejection, putting yourself out there. basically just playing small, holding yourself back. And then the action card is literally just that, like starting to make some plans or taking some time away from the rat race, the everyday grind, even if it's just taking some time outside, fitting in some just stillness away from all of the noise. Maybe when you're driving home from work or walking home from work, or maybe you work from home and you tend to just go from one thing to the other. Maybe it's turning the radio off or turning off the music, not listening to anything so that you have quiet. So yeah, just really taking time for stillness, maybe even just nature, ways to ground and get clear and find clarity around what it is that you can actually do to make change so that you don't stay in the status quo this time next year or this time next month. Moving the needle towards what you actually want to make happen. All right. And as always, I like to wrap up with a final card that I pull from the bottom of the deck. So we're going to see what we've got. What do we have here? We have the Three of Pentacles. And Pentacles are about earth. Like the Pentacles represent the earth sign or the element of earth. And historically, the Three of Pentacles is around like collaboration. So perhaps related to what we're talking about, it's collaborating, talking with friends about the thing that they're calling in. Maybe it's getting on Instagram and finding some people who have what you want and looking at them, maybe asking them some questions around how did you get there. So collaboration and maybe just overarchingly connection with other people. Also, when I see this card, I often think this angel here, it's like your higher self maybe, and maybe having stillness to listen to messages from your higher self or something bigger than yourself. So yeah, the Three of Pentacles. So today we had some wands and some pentacles. So fire and earth. All right. Well, I hope that reading was helpful for y'all. I will be back with y'all next week for next week's weekly wellness tarot reading. Y'all have a great week, and I will see you then.